Hi everyone, it is that time of the month to show you all the pages that I completed in June. I usually try and get this video out at the end of the month, but actually I've got a few other things, so it's the 1st of July, but I'm sure that's fine. And we are going to start with Hannah Coulson and then move through there. I did over 100 pages this month, which is quite astounding, to be honest, but I think I might be able to get time in July to do even more, so we'll see. Anyway, if you could do me a favour and click the subscribe button if you haven't already, that would be really kind, and we'll get on with showing you what's going on. Now I have I used a colour cube card which I've got here, and I can't find the page that I used it for, so we might have got a little mystery to solve as we go through and try and figure out which page is black, grey, burgundy and red. We'll see. Anyway, that's my own little personal challenge as we go through to try and remember to find what page that is, because I didn't note it down. So let's stop wittering and have a look. Spirit animals. In this book I couldn't decide what page to do, so I just did this one. It's quite shadowy because I've got a pile of books at the back. There we go. So this is the sort of this book belongs to page, and it does look like I used this card, but I didn't. I just decided to keep, I wanted the ladies to match the cat, so I kept their hair grey like the cat, and yeah, so that I had quite it was really different for me to colour grey hair. I've never coloured grey hair before, and my hair's going quite grey, so that was okay. I'm just trying to figure out what I used. I used Pablo pencils, so this is the first time I'd done skin tone with Pablo. I thought it went a little bit too dark when I was doing it, but looking at it now I think it's fine, and I really like the colour of their lipstick, which I think is the same as the gemstones, just to try and match it out a little bit, so that was good. I'm just moving my lamp down a bit because there we go. So that is my first picture, and I did a picture in all of my Hannah Coulson books this month, but one in each. I think one of them I may have done two. So this is Seasons, and I did a series from this book. This was a series of tutorial videos, and I used my polychromos for this, and you may have seen these. They sort of, I think they went through the end of May and just the very beginning of June, so you, as I say, you may have seen this series. If not, you can go and have a look if you wish. So that's that one, and then we're into Daydreams. Now this one I did with Staedtler pencils, and when I finished the pencil work, the background is done in Mungio pastels, I wasn't really very happy with the tones of colour. I thought this looked a bit dull, so I tried to use a really bright pink pastel to sort of lift it up off the page, but I'm not really sure whether it just made this look even duller. So I'm not sure. I mean, it sort of worked, but it wasn't, you know, it wasn't how I wanted it, let's put it that way. I put little pink dots of Posca and purple Posca pen and things trying to lift it. It just didn't quite look as pretty as I'd hoped, but you know, there's nothing really wrong with it. As I say, often I think we all are guilty of having an idea of how we might want something to be, and then when it isn't quite how we imagined, we feel disappointed, even though it could just be, it's fine, you know, it could just be absolutely fine. This one, however, I was pleased with. This is done with Prismacolor, and I just wanted her to look like she belonged in the sea. Obviously she's got all her shells and fish, so that's, and I also was well, I started off by thinking I want to do a face that isn't just normal colours. I want to do some blue hair, so I looked for a picture that I thought would work with blue hair, and I picked this one. And so I tried to keep a minimal colour palette, so you can see the shells are all one colour, the fish are all one colour, and that sort of thing. I'm not sure, I did her earrings and I was going to do the shells the same colour, and I forgot which colour I did and picked up the wrong one, but you know, it's such is life. But I think I was pleased with how it came out anyway. I think the minimal palette helps her to stand out. Her pale face stands out, and the lipstick being this colour, it was really quite daring actually for me. I've seen much more daring pictures, but for me personally, and I was really happy. So that is that one from Magical Dawn. And here we have Summer Nights, and we have this sunflower picture. This was done with Arteza Premium pencils, so a budget range of pencils, but the background is done with soft pastel. So I tried to I wanted yellow to sort of match with the sunflowers, but obviously I needed it to stand out from our sunflowers, so I kept it paler at the top and then very quickly graduated it to an orange at the bottom, just to create a sort of atmosphere, which I, you know, like it's a sort of sunset or something, but still the items all stood out, so I was pleased with how that worked. It was a bit of an experiment. The butterflies are mainly black and white Posca pen. There's obviously the orange pencil underneath, but it just helps them to stand up off the page a little bit. Had I not outlined that one, I think it would have just faded back into the sunflower. So, but that's quite often how I do butterflies. So that was that one. I think actually it may not have been black Posca, it might have been just a black fine liner. Now, jewellery box, I just did this one here. I'll come in a little closer because it's quite small. I actually sent my father a Father's Day greeting. I did post him a card, but I didn't see him on Father's Day, so I sent him this picture with his Father's Day greeting, because it was a little bit more masculine than some of the pictures I do, not that it necessarily matters. This is done with Black Widow spider set. Oh, I'm going to sneeze. No, I'm not. Maybe I will. I'm going to argue with myself for a while. So I used the browns and yellows and things to create this sort of gold look, which I was rather pleased with, I have to say. I wanted it just to look like it was a gold-plated door knocker. I did hope that the ears, the eyes, and the teeth might look like they were silver, but the grey in that set is very brown in its sort of colouring rather than black, so it looked a little bit dull, but anyway, I'm still really happy with it. So there's that one. It's just a little one from there. We have Grains of Gold next. Oh, my cable's getting in the way, sorry. Let's come out a little bit, and so you can see the full page. So this lady, there we go. Now, she was done in Black Widow pencils as well, but more of a mix from different sets. I know for a start that this leaf here is the Cobra colour. I chose Black Widows because there's quite a lot of fine detail. Now, obviously, there are different ways to colour this picture, and I know some people would choose to make this all skin, like she's got a tattoo, but I felt like I wanted it to look like a jumper with a high neck. It's just how I envisaged it, so that's what I did. Now the bird, he's the same colour. I just wanted to keep a really limited colour palette, and her eye is sort of green to match in with the greens and that sort of thing, and her lips are the same colour as the darkest red in the flowers. You know, I probably should have put a bit of white pen on some of the beads and things to make it a bit more sparkly, but that's fine. I'm still happy with how it is without that. And the background again is done in the Mangio soft pastels. It's so quick to just get a little bit down and just create a sort of atmosphere behind without putting in much effort, which is why I like them. It could leave it white, but I felt like it just needed a little something, so that's what I did. And the background literally takes about 5 minutes, so that's good. Now we have Tales from the Witch's Cottage. I did a double page in this one. Let's move those bookmarks. That's it. So this one has got a lot of pastel background, but it is also done, oh, it's done in, hang on a minute, Black Widows. I thought it was. It's also done in Black Widows, but I spent a lot of time on the fence. It took a long old time. I really enjoyed doing it actually. I like colouring wood. And then I just decided to do all the flowers and the butterflies and things matching, and the cat's sort of matching. This poor cat has got quite a yellow leg from the pastel. So we've got the Mungio pastel, so I did a bit of green here to look like the greenery from the plants, and then I pulled it up into yellow, because green naturally blends nicely into yellow up to orange, to make it look a bit like it's the evening, maybe the sun setting. And then we've got these sort of sparkly magic which is around the cat. This is coloured in metallic pen. I think it's glitter pen. No, it can't be glitter pen, it's just metallic pen. If it was glitter pen there'd be glitter on the page, and there isn't, so it's just metallic pen. So that was that one. Then I've got two from Tales from the Forest Kingdom. I have got this one with the fairies, which I decided to do. I've done quite a lot of the front of this book, so I thought I would just fill in this page because I've done those as well. So that's why I chose this one. And it was quite difficult to know quite what to do with this page. I did the mushrooms first because they were lovely and easy, and I know how to colour them. I used my Pablo pencils, by the way. And then the fairies, I started with their wings, and I did them, I can't remember what colour, and I didn't like it, so I redid it a little bit with some pink on top, and then I much preferred it. But what I've done with the wings is they're not only coloured in pink pencil, actually I went over some purple underneath, or a sort of more plummy colour. I went over the markings on the wings in a white pen, and then over the whole wing in a sparkly, it's like a see-through sparkly pen, the Sakura one. So then we've got sort of sparkly magical wings. Obviously their dresses are blue. And in the end with the background I wasn't really sure, so I made this sort of magical lines as if it was sort of misty smoke in a very light browny grey, but a different shade to the mushrooms, so it looked different. And then I did the background in just this, I think it's called night blue or something, and just to make it quite dark. And then we've got all the little dots and stars are done in a metallic Sakura silver pen. So that was that one. Oh, and we have our little red bug, of course, just sort of tied in so it sort of matches with everything. And then this bug, which was done right at the beginning of the month. I think it was done this month. There's a bit of pencil sharpening. There we go. Now he is done in Arteza Expert pencils. Now when I did the legs, because they look like leaves, I thought I'd do them green, and they looked really wrong with these bright colours. So what I decided was I would do a green background, and then they would blend in a little bit more. And I think that really worked actually. They don't, compared to, you haven't seen how it looked before, but compared to how it looked before, I was much happier with it. Now the silver swirly bit here is outlined in silver pen, and the stars are outlined in gold, so we have a bit of sparkle on the page, which there maybe you can see there. And there are some white dots around him as well, but they're small. I don't know how visible they are, but I was pleased in the end. It took me a bit of fiddling before I was happy with it, but that's good. It was worth me spending just 10 minutes or so putting on that pastel. Now we did this little chap, me and my friend did a buddy colour. Quite a lot of these are buddy colours actually. And this little chap is coloured in Artex pencils. And I haven't tried to do gold in them before, so I was quite pleased how it came out. That was my first try. And so that was good, and I just wanted to make him look very regal, so hence the purple, the red. I just felt that he needed to look like a king, so there he is. And I didn't bother with the background on this. I didn't feel that it needed it, you know. Sometimes I feel a picture does, sometimes it doesn't, and sometimes I'm not in the mood. But for that one I would have done one. I was in the mood, but I actually felt it was better without. And sometimes I just leave the pictures on the floor overnight, particularly if there's pen on them, to let it dry and have a little think about whether it needs more, like I did with this one. So this is from City Among the Stars, and I used all the greys. It's Stedler Design Journey, so I used lots of different greys, and I wanted to make it look quite silvery. It doesn't. It just looks grey. Now, I had a thought I could have got a silver pen and gone around all the edges to make it shine, but I decided that it would probably make it look worse, so I decided in the end to just leave it as it was. There are bits of white in there which is supposed to look like shine. I don't really know why it didn't quite come out as I'd hoped, but I still like it, and I think the fact that it's just greys is really interesting in its own way. So that's that one. Okay, that's all the Hannah. So we're moving on to Maria Trolle, and this is Moon Valley. Now I have this, this is the Dutch edition, and the paper is just delightful, I have to say. I need to try watercolours, and it's so thick it feels like you're turning over 3 pages. So this one is obviously a stag scene, and I'm just looking. I used Derwent pencils for this, apart from the moon, and the stars, which are done in a silver. Derwent doesn't have a silver pencil, so I don't know what. It was probably a Prisma. I don't know. So I really had so much fun doing the trees. I love colouring trees, trying to get some shape and shadow into them. It was brilliant fun, and yeah, I just wanted to make it look like a sort of slightly mystical night, and yeah, I was happy. And then I did this one at the back. Now this was a new book that I had last month, and so I did a flip through video, and this was the little picture I did as part of the flip through, and she was coloured in polychromos. So that was Moon Valley. Next we have Botanicum. Oops. And this is the one I did from Botanicum. So this was mainly coloured in polychromos. I chose them because there's quite a few smaller details on this one, and of course you can get them really sharp, so that was helped me a lot. But the sky is actually done in soft pastels, but I didn't want it to be thoroughly blue, so I've just done patches of blue and left some white to make it look like it's cloudy. I don't know how well that comes through, but I was happy with how it came out anyway. And interestingly, this girl's wearing yellow and blue, and the girl in Moon Valley was also wearing yellow and blue in my picture, and on the front of Moon Valley she's wearing yellow and blue. There's a theme. So there we go. This lady on the front of Flora isn't wearing yellow and blue though, but I didn't do a person in this book. I did these grapes. This page jumped out at me when I did my flip through video, and so I really wanted to do it. And I was sort of like, should I do it right away or should I leave it as a treat for later? And I was like, no, I'm just going to do it. So the main part of it is done in, hang on, Prismas. That's right, I was looking at the wrong one and it said polychromos. I was like, these aren't polychromos, this is Prismacolor. I use Prismas because it's quite big areas, and so you don't have to worry about keeping them really sharp. I had a lot of fun with the grapes. I just love colouring things like the fruit. And then it came to the background, and I decided to make it look like we're glimpsing through to see more of the tree in the distance. So we've got our green and bits of pink around as well, just to sort of be similar to those colours. And yeah, I was really pleased with that. And of course she drew such a cute little mouse, which was lovely to colour. Then we have Nightfall. And this one I picked again. This is was my favourite picture when I did the flip through. If you know me, you know how much I love colouring berries, so I just couldn't resist colouring these blackberries and this little cute mouse. So this one is done in polychromos. Yeah, and I just loved every minute of that one. It was just, oh. And of course with the black background, it doesn't take too long. but it's interesting doing ones with a black background. It's a bit different to what I'm used to. And now we have Luna. And I did a few in here just because I did that one. And so I thought, that's not, you know, let's do a bit more. So I also did this bird. I did them all in Castle Art Soft Touch. I tried to make that look metallic, but I wasn't sure how well it came out. I think it's okay looking at it now. And then the this book belongs to. Tried to make the hummingbirds look a bit shiny. Wasn't easy, and but you know, I like the colours. Maybe the leaf colour is a bit similar to the birds, but that's okay. And I tried to make this look like it was silver, and that one hasn't really come out too well, but you know, that's okay. It's all learning, isn't it? Right, we're moving on to Johanna Basford. I'm just turning the page of my book. So, now, this is Rooms of Wonder, which I finished this month, and I've done a completed book flip through, which you've possibly seen, and so you will have seen these pages already if you've seen the flip through, but I'll just quickly show you what I did this month. So this page was a set of videos that I did, and I used colour cube cards. So this one, you can see, that was that one, and that was that one, and then that must have been that one. Or have I got them around the wrong way? No, I think that's that. No, that's that one, and that's that one. That's right. And then there, a blue one. Now with my colour cube cards, I tend to work through them in order. Unless I'm doing a buddy colour with someone who just picks a random one. So I pick my next 4 and just match them to the best pictures. So that was how I did that one. Oh, and they were coloured in, let me just find them, polychromos. And then this page, hang on, let's try and move it into shot. It's come out a little bit, got a bit of a shadow going on over there. I was trying to adjust my lamp slightly, but I'll hold it up a bit. This one was done in Pablo's. I kept a really limited colour palette for this because it was quite daunting, but once I'd decided to limit the colours, it went quite quickly, and yeah, I was pleased. Now this, I think, is my favourite page of the whole book, not just the drawing but how it came out. There's a video for this, there's several actually. There's a video for a little section to show you slowly, and I talk to you about how to colour it. Then there's a speed colour of the rest of it, and there's a real-time colour of the rest of it, so you can have a look and just watch the videos if you want to. And I didn't do this one on video though, but it's very similar. And these were both done, I suspect, I'm just checking my list, yes, in polychromos, again with small details. And I wanted small details that I can also sometimes do in Staedtler pencils, but with the fruit I wanted a good range of colour, and I know that polychromos has all the colours that I wanted for that. Now here I did this page here. I wanted to sort of match it with that one a little bit, but I used some Sakura metallic pens to do the things inside the bottles. I sort of cheated, I suppose, by making them all match, so it was really easy. But it took a long time getting this ironwork done, which was I enjoyed. And here we have our sort of cake / sweet shop. I used polychromos again because of all the small details, and kept to a limited palette just to make it easier for me, so I didn't have to keep choosing from a million colours. Well, it's not a million, is it? This one I did with Prismacolor. I haven't coloured all of it. There's some sections in here which I didn't colour. I've actually seen one that is on Instagram where someone put gemstones in these bits, and it looks amazing, and I sort of half wish I thought of that, but I just left them blank just because I didn't, anyway, it didn't, I wasn't feeling it, and I felt that the way I'd coloured it, it worked best like that, and I still think that. I'm just tidying up my bookmarks. Now this was a series. This series is still running at the moment, so you can see the finished page. So you can get, I think this is today's, but what day are we? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So yeah, you won't quite have finished this series by the time this video goes out. So but all the dressing table items, and that's done in polychromos again. I've used a lot of polychromos. They are my favourite after all. And then we have this cake shop. This was the very last page I did in the book, and I made sure that I didn't rush it, because when you're doing the last page, the sense of satisfaction when you've completed a book is really lovely, but you don't want to rush it and spoil your last page just to get that. Hang on, I'm going to sneeze. Oh, that was lucky I stopped the video. It was very loud. But I didn't rush it. But what I did was I limited the colours a little bit down here, but I went a bit wild up here, and I'm quite happy with how that worked out. I thought that was good. And this one is done, that was done with polychromos, but this one was done with Prismacolor, and I actually did a video of one of the cakes, and of course they're all the same, and I got a really interesting look which I wouldn't have got with polychromos, and yeah, it was a bit different for me. Then I did these two. We'll look at this one first. This is done in metallic pencils. I'm just looking which ones, because I've got a few. This was Castle Arts metallic pencils, and this one was just done, I suspect, in I think that was, yes, oh, that was done in Castle Arts soft touch pencils, it says. I think they might have been Staedtler. Anyway, who am I to argue with myself? I don't know. And then I did this kitchen. I kept quite a limited palette. I didn't use a colour cube card, I just used my own palette. I just didn't want it to be too, it was so overwhelming, and if I kept to a limited palette, it made it easier for me. There's a little bit of apricot-y coloured pastel in the background of there as well. I think this was last month's, but I'm not sure. No, this was this month as well. This was Castle Art Soft Touch. I think, and then this magical circle here, which was done in Arteza Expert pencils. That's a video as well. And then all the letters, which I used Black Widows for. And lastly, I did this room, and that was done in polychromos. So that's all the ones in that book, and that book is now finished, as I said. And there's a flip through, but I think so many people have viewed it, I suspect you all may have done. Now this is my Secret Garden 2018 calendar, which I'm trying to finish this year. So this is the June page, and I used my watercolour pencils on it. I do tend to, it's upside down, isn't it? It's not that you would necessarily notice. I tend to use watercolour pencils here. It makes the page a bit curly, but I don't mind because it's single-sided. I haven't used the calendar or anything. And there's also a bit of glitter pen on the wings of the bees. So that was that one. And then we have the planner. Now all the planner pages are videos. There we go. So you can see how it transfers, because I don't put paper between the pages. Make sure you do if you're going to use that side. So that one was done in Pablo pencils. This one, oh, it's shiny. This one was done in Brute Funa Metallic and Sakura Metallic pen. This one was done in Ergosoft, and so is this one. This had some pastel. They both know that one. Is it pastel or pencil in the background? That's definitely pastel. I remember doing that. So that was that one. Haven't done July's yet, but I need to. That's that one. Let's just pop that in a different pile. There we go. Right, we have Lost Ocean. There was a video that I did on this in this book, which was this, trying to show you how to make this very complex page a little bit simpler, because I know it's quite difficult to do these. So that was that one, and I did use Staedtler Design Journey pencils for that, because they're easier for little details. Now this is a very recent video, I think it may have gone out yesterday, and I did the cake in the video and then finished the page myself, but I used all the same colours for that bit as for the rest, just to try and match it all in together. I mean, obviously I didn't try and match this page, it's really different, but that's okay, that wasn't my plan. And I used polychromos. So that is all our Johanna Basford, and now we are moving on to Rita Berman. The summer book, they're in the wrong order. The summer book first, let's come in a little closer. So obviously it's summer, so now I finished her seasons book, which is a compilation book. There is a flip through of that somewhere. I thought I would do some pages from the summer book. So I did this one. This is just red roses, and I used some red stickles to make them shiny. And in the background there's some Mungio pastels with a green, and there's some red and green splodges. I just wanted to add some texture and make it look a bit different. And the pencil I used was actually Black Widow. So that's the only one I did from there. And then what's the next one? Oh, this one, yes, they were in Lande. And I did this peeping bird, I call him. I thought it was such a cute picture. I used polys and prismas on this page. I think I mainly used polys, and then I ran out of greens, so I grabbed some. I've got a little supply of Prisma greens in my drawer on my desk. So of course I was attracted to all the berries. It's a very autumnal picture. This page I really want to do, but I'm sort of saving it because it's so many lovely berries. In Asian, I did a little series for you as a tutorial of the different swimsuits with my Tombow pencils, so that's available on my channel for you to have a look at if you wish. And then I did a fun one from Vasa. I'd already done this page in Castle Art Metallic, so I did this page in metallics, and I just did them all different colour metallic pencils. It was really straightforward. I was just straight colouring really, and just a little bit darker on their fins, and then some silver pen in the background. I'm just checking which one. Yeah, Castle Arts Metallic. So it was just, you know, just bright and cheery really, why not? And then Europa, I did this fountain page. Me and my friend did a buddy colour on this one. It was quite interesting because we both did really similar looking pictures, but yeah, it was I used my Giorgione pencils. It's the only time I used them this month, and of course they bleed into the white pen on the balloons, which was so we've got bits of neon as well as white, which is a bit annoying, but you know, such is life. It's just colouring. Now we're going to move on to Milli Marotta, so we'll come out a little bit because her books were a little bigger. There we go. So Secrets of the Sea. I was experimenting because I'm struggle a little bit with Milli's paper to work out what pencils are the best, so I thought I would use this picture of 3 crocs or alligators, I'm not sure which they are, to try out a few different pencils. So the top one is watercolour pencils, and they actually worked really quite well. This one is Brut Funa metallic, which was okay, and this one was Prismas, which a lot of people recommend, and they were okay, but not brilliant. But the watercolour is the best, but I don't always want to put lots of water into books, you know, I get a little bit worried. Although someone told me to try dipping them and then colouring with them, dipping them in water rather than wetting them after, and I might try that. It might be interesting to try. So when I went into Wildlife Wonders, I used Prisma, and I did this one. Now I was really pleased with the grass. It took me a long time, and but the leopard I found harder to make him. So many little lines on him. I wasn't sure about what to do with them all. I didn't know whether to use a white pen and try and cover them or what to do really. But yeah, I was pleased overall with how he came out. As I say, that was Prismas for that one. So they did go down well. So I think they are probably the answer. Oops, just knocking things off my desk. Bear with me. Right, now we have Circle of Life by Melpomene Chatsopanagiotou. And I did this chameleon. I was looking for something fairly simple actually, and because there's not many different colours, so I did use polycolour pencils, and yeah, they went down really well. And obviously, well, not necessarily obviously, in the background I used pastels to just do a green. You know, I wanted to keep the whole sort of green camouflagey type theme. Obviously we want him to stand out, but we also want him to look like he's trying to blend with the leaves. So the top piece here is the same colours as the branch, and his body is the same colour as the leaves, but mainly. But because of the way I've coloured it, you can see him, but you know, there's a bit of contrast, and so that was how I did him. I also did one from Nature Mandalas, and I picked this bright sunflower page. This is also done with polycolour, and yeah, I wanted to do, I was, you know, feeling nice sunshine and flowers and things, and kept to a limited palette, all the greens pretty much the same, so that the sort of flowers and the sun would really stand out. That was the plan. Okay, now we are on to Leyla Doley and Beautiful Planet. Now last month I did this one, which I was really pleased with. So this month I did this one, and this is with the same Pablo pencil set. Yeah, and I just used a slightly different colour scheme. I'm not so keen on the pink as the orange. It isn't as striking, but I enjoyed doing all these nice berries and things like that. So that was that one. And I did one from her flower year as well. I do one each month from flower year. Oops. So this was from the June pages. It was a really simple one. This is a meadow crane's bill. I just looked up how it should look, and I'm just trying to look, and I didn't write down what I used. I used pencil. I don't know why I didn't write that one down. I'm trying to look. I can't. It could very easily be polychromos, but it could easily be something else. Don't know. I usually use polychromos in the book. Right, let's go to Lulu Mayo. A Million Sweet Things. This one here, the Suitcase of Fun. So there's no background on this one. There's so much colour. I thought it would pop off the page better with a white background. And I used polycolour, which are really bright and vibrant. And that's that one. They're such cute little critters, aren't they? But my books are sliding. And then in my other Lulu Mayo book, I chose this one. And this one I actually did with polychromos. It says, I don't think these are polychromos at all, but that's what it says. I'm sure they're not. Maybe, I don't know. That's not polychromo. I don't know what they are. Anyway, but I quite enjoyed this sort of hilly glacier. I thought they were mountains. Yeah, it was interesting to colour. So that's why I picked that one. Okay, we have Reptiloids next. Haven't done any of these for quite a while because I've sort of been busy finishing up books, but decided to have a go, and I did a buddy colour with my friend. And this one, it looks like it's metallic. Yeah, Brute Funa metallics for this guy. They do make me laugh, these pictures. And then we had, oh, my books are sliding. And then we had, from this book, we picked this guy, the Magician I used Artex pencils for him. I wanted him to look quite bright and colourful. So, yeah. So there were those two. Then I did a page from this one, the Fluffballs book. And I picked this dog. Now, I'm not really a doggy person, but I really like this dog. And all these little bits and pieces. I kept the colours quite similar, trying to tie it sort of together. And I used polycolour because they work really well on this paper. Although this paper is lovely, I find it probably is going to work with everything. I did a bit of a grey background because it's raining, and I didn't want to colour the bones because I like them being white. I know bones aren't naturally really white, but I think if they're not, they look a bit nasty. So I wanted to leave them white, so I did the grey. So that was the idea behind that. Just making some space to put these books. There we go. So this is Animals of the Forest, the same series of books. And I picked this sort of eagle. I used polycolour again. You can see why I picked it because of these berries. I had great fun layering up different colours to do those. And there he is. So that's that one. And I grabbed my elephant book and picked a page from here. My cable's getting in the way, there we go. And this page I chose. So I don't know what did I use? Pablo pencils. Okay. I don't think yeah, I used pencils for the whole thing. So that was, sometimes I use pens for these sort of background bits, but I just went over the white lines because if you look here you can see there's like white lines. I just went over the white lines with pencil, and I wanted a grey elephant, so that's how I did him. So I was pleased with that one. Then I did a page from Matchstick, Springtime. I'd like to do a bit more in here. I'm sure I will this month, although it's not spring. This is the sort of Valentine's-y type page, I suppose. She's got a bunch of flowers. Maybe it's Mother's Day. I don't know. But I did that with Arteza Expert. That was a buddy colour as well. I had fun with the sort of all the pinks and things, trying to make it look really pretty and sort of contrasting with the browns. And let's put that one there. And in this book, which is a mandala book, I used my magic pencils, the ones that sort of change colour. I'm still experimenting with these, and they can be such fun. But I'm trying to work out quite how to make the most of them, really. So I had a sort of play around on this page with them. So that's that one. Then I did a page, whoops, I need to turn over. Sorry, I hit the tripod off the desk. That was very clever of me. There we go. Lucky it didn't all go, wasn't it? This is Microscopic Marbles by Jennifer Delaney. And I did a sort of, oops, not that one, a double page because that's what was the next page in the book that I hadn't done. And I've got a set of Posca pencils with only a blue, two blues, a purple, and a peach and a grey and a red, whatever they're called. I don't know what they call the actual colours. So I used all my Posca pencils on this page, and I thought it came out really well. I was really pleased. It was really simple. I just did a bit of a darker bit around the outside and less in the middle, and just worked through it slowly. Tried to make it random if I could. It's quite hard, but yeah, I was happy with that one. Then I did one from my Colour Ya Mandalas book. It's quite hard putting a bookmark. You have to put it in the side. Oops. And I turn it on its side because it's symmetrical. I used my Pablo pencils for this. The paper in here is really smooth. I'm not sure it was suited the pencils that well, but it's really, really thick paper, like card. So I'm trying different pencils, but I really enjoyed that colour scheme. Now that isn't the colour cube card that I'm trying to match, So I think I must have just made that one up myself. Sometimes I do. Now, Colouring Heaven Patterns book, I did the one from the front cover, you see, and these hummingbirds. What did I use? I used polycolour, yeah, for that. And yeah, I was pleased with it, how the birds came out. I was a bit confused by this outline around here, but apart from that, I was happy with that. Now, I was going to do both my Kirby books, but I only got time to do one, and in Worlds Within Worlds, I used my Prismacolor because of the background. I decided to do the background in pencil, so I wanted to use something that was going to help me with that. You can't really see, there is a blue background there. I get the colours are quite muted. That's how I started, and so that's how I continued with it. And I did the flamingo's legs the same colour as the buildings because they blend into them, and that's how I felt it would work. And when I coloured the water, I coloured it over the top of everything that was in the water to make it look like we're looking through the water. I'm not sure how well that's worked. Maybe I should have used a bit of white pen because it's quite pale. I wasn't sure it would show up that well. And we've got a couple of pops of colour at the top. Not sure how well that works. It was a bit of an experiment. I think it might have been better if they'd been purple, but of course those plants aren't purple. But I could have used a bit of artistic license. But it was getting me back into Kirby because I get a bit nervous when I get out a Kirby book. But once I started, it was fine. Now this is Escape to Wonderland, and I found this really fun page to do. This is our mock turtle, and it's like a pretend Campbell's soup can. So that was really interesting, and I just did a sort of what did I use? Polychromos, and then I just used some pastels in the background to make a bit of a... I used the colours from the turtle-ish. I did colour these in white pen, but they look a bit muddy still, but that's okay. I still like it. Now this one is Agatha I should say, sent me this downloads of her plants pages, and this one I did in a video using Tombow pencils. So that's that one. I haven't done any more on the page. In the Flowers book, I had a go at this one. I used my Arteza Premium actually for both the pictures I'm going to show you. I had quite good fun blending two colours here, so I used a sort of apricot and a red, and I liked how that looked. And then here I decided to use blue and yellow because my greens are running out, and it looked terrible, so I had to go over it with the green, and it's still, if you squint a bit and pretend, it looks okay. But it just didn't blend very well on this paper. However, this one worked, and this was a video you may have seen where I tried to demonstrate how you can just change up a picture a little bit to give it a little bit more, look a little bit more three-dimensional, I suppose, rather than just doing flat colouring, if that's what you want to achieve. It was just to show you some techniques you could try if you wanted to. Now here is a little book that's coming. We've got quite a few in here. So, oops, this one here was also a video. I did a video showing you how to use this colour cube card. I have done one before from this book with a colour cube card, showing you how to use them. But I thought I would do it again because I get quite a lot of questions from people asking me about them. So I thought I would do a sort of colour cube card chat and colour, really. So that was that. And someone had told me I'd missed a bit out. I can see it now. Never mind. Now this one was a really interesting card because we've got all these reds and browns, and then we've got a sort of bluey grey. So that's how I interpreted it on there, and I was actually really pleased. It could have put a bit in the background, but I just left it This one is coloured with Arteza Expert, same as the last one. Did I do another one? Yeah. Oh yes, I used my Black Widow dark skin tone pencils here because I haven't used them much because I haven't been daring enough to colour dark skin tones. I thought I would just have a go and get me used to the different colours. So that was quite a useful exercise for me, just sort of seeing what they all look like really. So it was a bit of just a bit of playing really. And here is the Uplifting Words book, which I've been working through, getting nearer to the end. This one was quite tricky to know quite what to do with this page. So I just used 2 shades of blue and it actually looks like there's only one. So the circles are a different colour to the rest. And I used, actually used Norris pencils for these, which are quite pale, which is probably why you can't see the difference between them. And then this one, which I can turn around for you, I wanted to make really bright and colourful. And yes, Polycolour, I thought it was. And then, oops, this one. This one I used Stedler, and I used some, this is a colour that I don't use very often, so I put that down first and then just try to match in. So that's that one. Now this book we might find that colour cube card. Where is it gone? Did I mix it in? No, there it is. Right. This whole book was done this month. This one was part of my flip through video. I did a corner of it. There we go. There's some sparkly pen, but mainly it's Castle Arts botanical pencils. Then this page, aha, that's got to be that, hasn't it? That page. So that's this one, and it was done with Arteza Expert pencils. I had fun making these look silvery and things. Look, I've completely missed that bit out there. Oopsie. And this page, look, you can see that one. I didn't quite get that green right, but I don't always worry too much about getting it spot on. Those are poly colours, and I guess they probably didn't have one that colour, so I just got the nearest. Why not? This one I didn't have a card. This was done with Castle Art Soft Touch pencils, and I wanted to do a background because I've seen some done with backgrounds and they look really good. Wasn't completely pleased with how that came out, so I think I still need some work, but that some sort of practice, I guess. But I was pleased with this one. This was done with Stella Design Journey pencils, and I prefer it without a background to the one with a background. You know, that's that. It's all learning, isn't it? Then we have the 100 Beautiful Mandalas by Camelia Andrukova. Let's come out a bit more. And this one was really interesting. Actually, we can come back in a bit because they don't fill the whole page. This was one very thin, it's a Prismacolor, very thin pencil in black. And I wanted to experiment with texture with black, and I had such fun. I'm going to do it again with a different colour. But this one was also very thin pencils, but this time obviously using that card. Oops. Then this card for this one, to put that sort of apricot with those blues. I never thought of that, but I'm really pleased with how it came out. And that one was Artex pencils. What I do with the colour cubes is I will often look at the colours and then pick a set of pencils that has the correct colours. This one is Pablo. That one says it's Triplus pens. It absolutely isn't. That's definitely pencils. Those look to me like Polychromos phthalo greens. I think that's what that is. That's Triplus pens. So I've missed one out. Oh well. I'm trying to run out my pens before they run out, if you know what I mean. This one ran out, so I could only use it a little bit. This is Sakura metallic pens, just a bit of fun. Some shine, I like a shiny page every so often. This one was Prismas. Bit fiery, isn't it? That was Holbein and Very Thins, it says. I can't see any Very Thins. Pretty sure that's all Holbein. Ah no, that's Holbein, that's Very Thins. So again, there's another one missed out. They didn't add up properly when I was trying to work out how many pages I'd done. So that one there, it's quite a lovely autumnal palette, isn't it? I like that. This one is Artex. Yeah, that's Artex. That's actually written down on the page next to it. And this one is also Artex. It's quite an unusual colour, isn't it? You get your brown, rusty browns and your blue and your pinks. But it worked, I think. This one is metallic. Yeah, Brute Funa Metallics. I love these shades. Another tripless one. That's it. You can see, I'll just show you, they do come through the page. You should put a piece of paper behind because it was in risk of coming right through. I always put if I'm using pens, I always put a laminate behind to make sure the wet doesn't get through. Last book, we have another Camellia Andrikova book. This is the 101 Mandalas. And the first one is this one. Let's put it into shot for you. I used Arteza Premium for these. And then this one, I used Polycolour. This is a really pretty colour scheme. And that was Giorgione pencils. So it says, I'm not convinced that is what they are. That's what it says, 98. This one is a really pretty colour combination. That's Staedtler Super Soft pencils. This one, Arteza Expert. No. 99 it says was Arteza Expert. Now I'm confused. I've got a bit muddled, sorry. I don't know what these are actually. This one, this says Arteza Premium, I think it is. I really like this one, how it came out with those colours. I think it worked really well. I was really pleased. And then this one is our last one, I think. This was done in Very Thins. Yeah, that's it. So that's the last one. So thank you if you managed to stick through all of those. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a super day and happy colouring.